Welcome to Tommy Threads, where the stories are real and the voice is human. Today's story, single guy with no kids is expected to step in as a part-time parent, all because he has free time, family pressure, guilt trips, and unwanted responsibilities. This one gets messy. Let's get into it. Post 1. Our first post is from Psychological Dust 76. Am I overreacting for not wanting to help raise my brother's baby just because I have no kids and free time? I'm a 30-year-old single guy with no kids. I have a full-time job, my own apartment, and a life I enjoy. Gym, work, weekends to myself. My younger brother, 25 male, and his girlfriend, 22 female, just had a baby. I congratulated them, brought gifts, and visited a couple of times. Cool. But now, my mom and brother have started expecting me to help out with the baby. Not ask, expect. Like, you're not doing anything Friday night. Can you watch him while they get sleep? Or, you should take him once a week so they can have couple time. My mom even said, you don't have kids, so this is your way to help the family. I said no. Not because I hate babies. I just didn't sign up to be a co-parent. I didn't choose this. And frankly, it's not my responsibility. No, I'm being painted as selfish, and my brother said I'm showing my true colors. My mom told me I'll regret not helping out when I need a family one day. But I feel like just because I have no kids doesn't mean I owe my time to someone else's. I'm tired too, and I like my place. So am I overreacting for thinking it's messed up that I'm being guilted into parenting someone else's child, or am I just being a bad brother? Look, I get family obligations. It's fine once in a while for them to ask if you could babysit, but it's their child. You're not in the wrong for this, and they should understand that you've got your own life too. Your mother's not exactly wrong that one of these days, when you have a kid, you're going to want them to help you out too. There's a 50-50 compromise for you guys to work this out, I'm sure. Post 2. Our post is from Cinnabon Bar. Am I overreacting for not backing down after repaying my in-laws in full without telling them? Around 3 years ago, my wife and I borrowed a substantial sum of money from her parents to pay for her son's medical treatment. It was well into 6 figures. He was not responding to conventional treatments, and we were offered a chance to try something that was expensive but had promising results so far. Thankfully, after a second round of the treatment, it worked. He is now in remission, and hopefully the way to a full recovery. My in-laws initially said they wanted to help and no mention of repayment was made. Once our son was doing well, and after approximately 12 months, my in-laws started to question us about paying them back. Now, family or not, we owed the money as far as I'm concerned. It had to be repaid. However, it took us quite some time to get back on our feet and start to live again, let alone save money. We knew it would take years to repay them. Long story short, they kept guilt-tripping us after 3 years. Regardless of the fact that we were giving them everything we could whenever we could, they were already still fairly comfortable anyway. Through my job, we struck some good fortune, and we were finally in a position to repay them in full. It was still a lot of money we owed, so my wife took the full amount and sent it to their bank account with a message that it's now paid in full. They erupted, not in a good way. They started to go ballistic about how we shouldn't have paid it all at once, and that it would now affect their pension and other benefits they receive, as well as tax implications. I don't know about that, to be honest. They accused us of destroying their life for not drip-feeding the money to them in a particular way so they could continue to get all kinds of benefits, and they claim they will now struggle to make ends meet. And that's a lie. They will never struggle, and that's a fact. Even after they loaned us the money, they continued to be very, very comfortable. Now, we don't presume to know what they're claiming with benefits or whatever else, and frankly, we don't want to know. But holding us responsible for making their life hard because we repaid them is just wrong in my opinion. I don't know what else we apparently ruined by doing this, but according to them, there's more. I'm certain they're claiming things that they're not entitled to and don't need, but I don't have proof. Crafty bookwork sounds like it's at play here. So first, they wanted us to sign something to say we transferred it by mistake and take it back. We said no. Then, they demanded we pay the shortfall of what we cost them every week for the rest of their lives. Again, we said no. Now, they've said they've cut my wife out of their will and won't speak to us until we agree to fix this. That doesn't bother my wife at all, being cut from the will. I told them we repaid the debt. We are now done owing them money, and that means our relationship is also sadly done. The reason why I'm standing my ground is because I don't believe they're being completely honest with whatever they're claiming from the government. So, am I overreacting for standing my ground after repaying them? Also, it should be noted that while we were paying small amounts back, that's when the constant guilt-tripping and badgering us for the money was worse. In their words, thanks, but it's not the whole amount you owe us. There's more than a moral issue here at play. I think you guys should seek some legal counsel, or find a financial advisor to see what they're doing, because they might be cooking something up under your nose, and you just don't know about it. The whole thing just seems really suspicious. I don't know much about insurance policies, or legalese, but the way they were acting really was off. Go find some professional help. Post 3. Next up, A story from Johnny Cult. Am I overreacting for refusing to attend my sister's rebirth party? So my sister has always been into weird stuff. Crystals, astrology, raw milk. But last year, she took some kind of hallucinogenic frog venom at Burning Man and had a breakdown and came back calling herself Obsidian Womb Fox. That's not a joke. She legally changed it from Lindsay. Her email signature even says born again, now with more ancestral knowing. Anyway, she recently sent out wax-sealed invitations for her rebirth party, an event she's hosting in our parents' backyard to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of her ego death. The invite was wild. It asks guests to dress in uterine tones, said the party would begin at sunrise or when the hawk signals, and promised a journey through a sacred canal of transformation. I didn't know what any of that meant, but I figured, hey, it's just one morning. Maybe there's a mimosa or something. Then my cousin sent me the full itinerary she got through a private group chat. I was left out because I made a placenta joke once and got the boot. Apparently, the main event involves my sister being reborn from a papier-mâché uterus while a fully grown man named Curtis, who she found on Craigslist, pretends to be her womb. Like, she's literally crawling out of him while he moans and plays a Tibetan singing bowl. The finale includes her cutting a red ribbon umbilical cord, screaming, "I am rewoven," and then doing a primal dance in a giant inflatable kiddie pool full of coconut oil. I told her I wasn't going. I was respectful about it. I just said, hey, I love you, but I'm not comfortable watching you get fake birthed by a guy in a spandex bodysuit. She flipped, said I was refusing to support her second becoming, that I still see her as a linear being, and that I'm chained to the masculine lie of the Gregorian calendar. Now my mom's upset. My aunt says I'm being closed-minded, and my uncle is going, but only because there's going to be taco truck, and apparently you get a free lapis lazuli bracelet with every birthing. So am I overreacting because I'm not wanting to attend my adult sister's backyard rebirth where a Craigslist guy acts as her womb? Oh boy, where do I even begin? You ever heard of a drug called ayahuasca? Yeah, everybody's into it nowadays. A lot of people think that they're going to find their second coming, their rebirthing, or find their soulmate by taking ayahuasca. A good 90% of people who take ayahuasca don't get that second birthing and just end up getting their brains fried, which I'm pretty sure is what happened to your sister. Look man, there's a very strange spiritual crisis that the Western man seems to be falling into. I'm not exactly opposed to rituals and beliefs that there's something out there, because there probably is, or maybe there really is, but a lot of these TP Indian ritual blah blahs just seem so far removed from the actual traditions that the old people used to do. Some kind of weird new age hippie religion that's just made off of feelings and no actual deep philosophy or deep theology. There's plenty of actual traditional spiritual whatevers out there that make so much more sense than literally finding your spirit animal through fucking Burning Man. So, no. It's very uncomfortable and the whole thing just seems fake. I totally get why you wouldn't want to be here, and you're not in the wrong for it, nor are you overreacting. Post 4. Next up is a post from Sweet Apple. My birthday got turned into someone else's engagement party. Am I overreacting for being annoyed? I threw a little birthday dinner for myself last weekend. Nothing crazy, just a cute night out at this nice restaurant with like 12 to 15 people I'm close to. I don't usually make a big deal out of my birthdays, so this one felt kinda special. Anyway, a few days before dinner, this guy friend of mine, let's call him Jake, 20 male, hits me up and goes, "Hey, do you mind if I propose to my girlfriend at your birthday thing?" And I'm like, honestly, I'd rather you didn't. I was super polite about it. I told him I was really happy for them, and I get that it's a big deal, but like, I just wanted one night where the focus wasn't on someone else. He seemed a little bummed, but said he understood. Cool. End of story, right? Nope. Fast forward to the actual dinner. Things are going great. Everyone's vibing. I'm finally enjoying my moment. And then Jake stands up, clinks his glass, and starts giving everyone a speech. At first I thought maybe he's about to say something nice about me, like happy birthday or something, but nope. This man legit turns to his girlfriend, drops on one knee, and proposes. Right there, at my dinner. She says yes, everyone starts clapping and cheering, and just like that, my birthday dinner becomes their engagement party. I was honestly in shock. I didn't want to be that girl and cause drama, so I just smiled and clapped along. But inside, I was pissed. Later, I pulled Jake aside and was like, "Dude, why would you do that when I literally asked you not to?" And he goes, "Come on, you knew I had to. It was the perfect moment. You're not mad, right?" I told him I felt super disrespected, and he straight up told me I was being selfish because an engagement is more important than a birthday party. Bruh, what? Now, a couple of our mutuals are saying I should be happy for them and stop making it a thing, but I can't help feeling like they totally hijacked my night. You know, you mentioned the person was a guy friend, so I'm assuming you're a chick. Alright, it's a very funny thing when it comes to birthday parties with boys and girls. Personally, I would have just told a guy, seriously? You want to propose in someone else's birthday party? Don't you want to propose to her in a way that makes the focus all about you two? Or in something more romantic than a freaking birthday party? But even, sans that, as a guy, most of the time when we have birthday parties, they're really just overblown hangouts. If somebody wanted to propose in our birthday party, I mean, it's their loss, really. Could have picked a better time, but it's no biggie. I can't exactly relate to someone, quote-unquote, stealing your moment, because that's not how I see birthday parties. In any case, man, that was a real bummer. I think the previous plan would have been so much better, just telling them, find a better spot to propose, because, proposing in someone's birthday is really, really lame. But hey, at least some of you guys are happy. Post 5. The next post is from Past Professional 384. Am I overreacting? Fiancé asked me not to wear white at our wedding. Have you ever seen I Love a Mama's Boy? Well, that's basically my life. I'm a 27-year-old female and I've been with my fiancé John, who's 28, since high school. We dated and broke up once because his mother Debbie, who's 53, convinced him we were too young to be in love. We broke up, went to college, and during my sophomore year, we started talking on social media again. He apologized and said he missed me, and we got back together. Cue the waterworks. Debbie literally cried the first time we were back together and told John if I'd done witchcraft on him. I've always respected Debbie, out of respect for my own mother and how I was raised. I wasn't brought up to go back and forth with my elders, but she definitely abuses that. Since John and I got back together, Debbie had tried to set him up with women from her church. From her job, she even asked her friends if their daughters wanted to give it a shot. John denied them all, and Debbie said I'm the controlling one. John had told her to stop, but not in a way that makes me feel like she's actually getting the message. Anyway, 3 months ago, John proposed. Debbie didn't come to the engagement party. Cool. She didn't show up to the family dinner where both sides were supposed to meet. Cool. John's dad did come and even apologized for his ex's behavior. They split up after John graduated high school. I told him not to worry about it. Now here's where the real problems began. John finally decided to confront his mother about her behavior during our engagement. That seemed to flip a switch in his head. He usually just tells me to ignore her. She gave him the sob story about how she got pregnant with him before marriage, never had a real wedding, and how our wedding is triggering her. She had a shotgun courthouse wedding. So John asked her what she needed to feel comfortable, and she said she wants to wear white at our wedding, and for me to wear pink or lavender. Let me repeat that. His mom wants to wear white to our wedding, and for me, the bride, to wear soft pink or lavender. And my fiancé somehow thought this was a fair compromise. Oh, and it gets better. He also told me, not asked, that his mom would walk me down the aisle so she could have her moment in a dress. I told him absolutely not. We got into a major argument, and I told him it was insane that he would argue with me to defend his mom's honor, but wouldn't defend me from her constant disrespect. He accused me of being petty and selfish. It was bad, but we both agreed to cool off. Oh, I could tell we almost ended it that night. Now, we're in this weird place. I love John, but I'm finally seeing how much he lets his mom interfere in our lives. And honestly, I just imagine her sitting at home with some evil grin, knowing she's ruining my relationship and John's, just putty in her hands. I'm really thinking about calling off the wedding. Am I overreacting, or is it really just about color? This is so weird. I have no idea how to react to this because it's definitely more than just about color. There's something pretty Freudian in it too. How do I bring up the elephant in the room without making it sound a lot weirder than it already? You know what? Never mind. I'm going straight to the next story. Post 6. The next story is from Efficient Desk 9858. Am I overreacting for crying after my mom told me to cover up while I was breastfeeding in my own house? My son is 3 weeks old, and I'm still figuring out breastfeeding. It hasn't been easy, but we're getting there. My mom came over yesterday with my aunt and cousin. When the baby got fussy, I latched him while we were all in the living room. I had a light blanket over my shoulder, but it kept sliding, and honestly, I was more focused on the baby feeding than being perfectly modest. About 5 minutes in, my mom said, "You should really go upstairs or put something on. No one wants to see all that." I was mortified. My cousin looked away awkwardly and I excused myself to the nursery. After they left, I broke down crying. I felt embarrassed and ashamed, even though I know I shouldn't be. I told her later that what she said hurt, and she just brushed it off with, well, I was just being honest. Now she's saying I'm being sensitive and trying to make her the villain, but I feel like I should be able to feed my baby in peace, especially in my own home. So, am I overreacting for getting upset over this? Well, my unfortunate answer to this is going to be, I actually do think you should find a different spot to to breastfeed. Nobody really wants to see their relatives' bits hanging around. It's kinda awkward. I mean, just for peace of mind, it is pretty weird, but your mom was kind of in the wrong for being so blunt about it in public and putting you on the spot. She could have tapped you and pulled you to the side and say, hey, maybe you want to take it upstairs because it's kind of awkward in here. But yeah, at the same time, she's kind of got a point. She just delivered it the wrong way. The next post is from Ismo420. Am I overreacting for wanting to uninvite this guy to a bachelor party because of his behavior? A close friend asked me to get a groomsman for his wedding, and I was honored to say yes. Since January, the best man and I have been planning the bachelor party because the groom has struggled with cocaine in the past and is now clean. We were careful about who we invited. We excluded some old friends still involved with drugs to avoid temptation and out of respect for the groom and his fiancée. We did include one old friend, let's call him Tom, who still uses, but we made it very clear that there would be zero tolerance for drug use at the party. He agreed completely. By March, we'd planned the events: golf, go-karts, bowling, and a night out with a party bus. One friend generously covered a luxury suite, $1,500, and another covered the party bus, $1,500 too. The remaining 10 of us, excluding the groom and the 2 who paid for the big items, were asked to contribute $300 each into a party fund to cover everything else: activities, drinks, food, and a group wedding gift, or refunds of leftover money. I kept everything transparent with an anonymous tracking sheet. Everyone was on board. One person couldn't afford it and another covered his share. Most people paid early. I only had to remind a couple people and they paid quickly. The only exception was Tom. Even though he was one of the first to agree to the plan, when I followed up with him 2 weeks ago, he acted strangely. I let him know we were collecting money and that he still hadn't sent his. He replied with, "I'll send you your money, relax." I calmly gave him the details and said we needed final numbers by Friday before the party. That Friday came and still no payment. I checked with another friend who advised me to just tell Tom that if he wasn't contributing, he'd have to pay for his own stuff. I passed the message along. In return, I got called a freak face and a bachelor party Nazi. I want to stress, I only reached out twice politely. Meanwhile, everyone else had been cooperative, thankful, and respectful. We've worked hard to make this a great low-stress weekend, and being insulted like that makes me wonder if we should even have Tom come at all. No, get him out of here. Get him out of here. He doesn't deserve to be there. Look, man, there's a line from Breaking Bad that perfectly summarizes the situation. Never trust an addict. And it is so true. A guy who doesn't contribute and is still on the sauce should not be invited to these kinds of things. Usually, they're untrustworthy, and the reason why they can't pay is because they have to spend so much of that hobby on their addiction. So yeah, this guy doesn't deserve to be there. Kick him out, dude. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the next video on screen. I think you'll like it too. See you next time, and see you there.